Let's revisit the big national story. The Indian Air Force struck Jaish-e-Mohammed's biggest training camp in Balakot with strikes conducted in the early hours of this morning. Pakistan has rejected India's claim of these airstrikes. We have Shireen joining in with the latest now. Shireen, quite a historic day.
Well, it is, and it continues to be a day of heightened tensions on both sides. It is important to note that there was a very measured statement that was finally put out by India. The Foreign Secretary, Mr. Gokhale, addressing the media and making it clear that this was not retaliatory. This was not a retaliation to Pulwama, but this was in fact a preemptive non-military strike by India, bases credible information that the intelligence agencies had shared with the government that more fedayeen attacks were being planned on Indian soil, and hence to protect India, this was a matter of self-defense. The Foreign Secretary in its statement also going on to add that what had been targeted was one of the largest JEM camps in Pakistan, and that the Indian side was mindful of no collateral damage, and hence civilian casualties were kept in mind before launching the airstrike. Now, it's also important to note that this is the very first time that the Indian Air Force has been put into action since 1971. This has been considered previously as well, but has not happened. This is the first time that the Air Force assets have been used. This was a 21-minute operation that took place in the wee hours of the morning. The Prime Minister, addressing a rally in Churu in Rajasthan, while did not specifically talk about the airstrikes, he did invoke the sentiment that India would not kowtow to any kind of pressure and would respond if attacked. That was the Prime Minister saying that the nation is in safe hands in Churu in Rajasthan. We've just got a statement that's come in from Pakistan as well. Pakistan, of course, expectedly through the morning has denied any impact of the airstrikes while acknowledging that there were airstrikes, but have also pointed out that, and I'm quoting from that statement, once again, the Indian government has resorted to self-serving, reckless and fictitious claims that Pakistan is committed to responding, but it will choose the time and place for its response. In fact, the meeting of the NCA has been called on the 27th, and the Prime Minister, that is Imran Khan, has directed armed forces as well as the people of Pakistan to be ready for any eventuality. Now, separately, on the diplomatic front, India has been stepping up the offensive. Through the morning, the Ministry of External Affairs has held meetings with envoys of countries like Russia, China, etc. In fact, explaining to them the rationale behind this, the airstrikes that were conducted by India today, and that effort will continue to be stepped up as well. So this is a developing story. At this point in time, India has responded to what it believes is credible information targeting India, and this was a preemptive strike. Now it will depend on how Pakistan chooses to respond to what is coming by way of the airstrikes. We've been speaking with several defense experts, people involved with the surgical strikes like Lieutenant General Huda, and they believe that the possibility of an escalation, a large escalation perhaps, is limited at this point in time. But remember, there are domestic constituencies to address, so one cannot account for poor decisions. But at this point, this is where things currently stand. A statement coming in from Pakistan saying that its armed forces and its people should be prepared for any eventualities. The Pakistan Prime Minister saying that Pakistan will choose the time and place for its response. Back to you.
All right. Thanks, Shireen, very much for putting all of that in context and perspective. Let's now start getting you all the reactions that have come in, starting with what Prime Minister Narendra Modi had to say on what transpired at the LOC today.
आओ हम सब भारत के पराक्रमी वीरों को नमन करें, सर झुका करके नमन करें। आज चूरू की धरती से मैं देशवासियों को विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि देश सुरक्षित हाथों में है।
Indian Foreign Secretary Gokhale said that this is a non-military preemptive strike at the biggest training camp of the Jaish-e-Mohammed in Balakot. He added that a large number of terrorists and fedayeen operatives were eliminated in this attack.
In an intelligence-led operation in the early hours of today, India struck the biggest training camp of the Jaish-e-Mohammed in Balakot. In this operation, a very large number of Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists, trainers, senior commanders, and groups of jihadis who were being trained for Fidaiin action were eliminated. This facility at Balakot was headed by Maulana Yusuf Azhar, alias Ustad Ghori, the brother-in-law of Masood Azhar, chief of the JEM. The government of India is firmly and resolutely committed to taking all necessary measures to fight the menace of terrorism. Hence, this non-military preemptive action was specifically targeted at the Jaish-e-Mohammed camp. The selection of the target was also conditioned by our desire to avoid civilian casualties. We expect that Pakistan lives up to its public commitment and takes follow-up action to dismantle all JEM and other camps and hold the terrorists accountable for their actions.
Okay, so that was the official India response. Now let's listen in to what a whole host of experts on the subject had to say during the course of the day.
It's completely now up to Pakistan whether they want to, ratchet it up a bit, whether they want to escalate or not. As far as our preparations are concerned, I'm sure the Air Force, Navy and the Army is completely prepared. And we should be prepared for some action on the other side. It would actually not be correct for us to sit back and say that nothing can happen. I personally think we are not going to see a major reaction from Pakistan. I don't think there is something we should be so worried about that this could lead to some kind of an all-out war or something. As of now, that to me doesn't appear likely.
I think Pulwama attack definitely deserved a reply from our side. The very fact that we've given a reply to this attack, this dastardly act, by a direct action through the use of Indian Air Force Mirage 2000 aircraft is a very good thing. It shows that we have upped the ante as far as response to terrorism is concerned. And the effect this will have is that they will think 50 to 100 times more before putting in any other terrorist attack onto Indian soil. It is not an attack on the Pakistan military or civil target. It is an attack on a terrorist organization training camps. So that is what we must insist on.
I don't expect any further action from India at the moment. And as you heard the Foreign Secretary saying, this was a preemptive strike on the Jaish-e-Mohammed camp, which had a large number of terrorists housed there. They've also named one leader of the Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorist organization and who's the brother-in-law of Masood Azhar. So India clearly has, like the surgical strikes announcement, has now said that from our side, neither the civilians were target nor the military was a target. So India has clearly said there's no escalation. Except for making noises, I don't think Pakistan has the capability or the stomach to do a retaliatory act, because Indian air defense would be on full alert.